Welcome everyone once again to our Real Insight YouTube channel. The ultimate series created about a serial killer is the Korean series Mouse. I have already brought you 15 episodes of this series. For those who haven't watched the previous episodes, the playlist card for Mouse is linked above. Also, I will put the links for the past episodes in the description below. Please watch those videos first and then come back for the 16th episode. At the end of the last episode, you saw that Chi-guk died while he was at the hospital. After finding out that the person who spoke to Chi-guk before he died was Ba-reum, Kumuchi went off, intending to catch Ba-reum now. Through the 16th episode, you will find out what happened next and get answers to many other secrets in this series. Kumuchi tells Ba-reum what happened, and that's when Ba-reum realizes Chi-guk is no longer in this world. Ba-reum runs to the room where Chi-guk was. Ba-reum can't figure out what happened. However, Ba-reum notices some muddy footprints in the room where Chi-guk was. Ba-reum remembers that a man who was in the washroom when he went in was wearing a pair of muddy shoes like those. Because of this, Ba-reum suspects that the man must have come and killed Chi-guk. Ba-reum immediately rushes out of the hospital. Outside, Ba-reum sees the man with the muddy shoes frantically leaving the hospital and speeding away in his car. Ba-reum grabs a nearby motorbike and starts chasing the man. Kumuchi is confused as to why Ba-reum suddenly left the hospital in such a hurry. Ba-reum doesn't have time to explain to Kumuchi because there is a man who killed Chi-guk, and Ba-reum is trying to catch him. The man goes to a hotel and Ba-reum follows him. Ba-reum disguises himself as a food delivery person and goes to the man's room. The man carelessly opens the door. Ba-reum then hits the man's face with the food package he is carrying, trying to subdue him. A fight breaks out between the man and Ba-reum. The man manages to escape and tries to jump off the building. However, Ba-reum manages to catch the man on the rooftop of the building. Ba-reum starts hitting him. The man confesses, "Yes, I killed Chi-guk." But suddenly, another man wearing black clothes arrives. He is wearing a mask. Ba-reum can't figure out who this man is. This man attacks Ba-reum severely. While they are fighting, the man who killed Chi-guk manages to escape. The fight continues between Ba-reum and the masked man. The masked man eventually falls from the rooftop of the building and dies. He falls onto a section of the building that is still under construction, landing on some iron rods. Ba-reum is still trying to catch the man who killed Chi-guk. That man comes down from the building, gets into his car, and drives away. Ba-reum follows the car, but fails to catch it. Ba-reum turns back to check on the man who fell from the rooftop. Surprisingly, Ba-reum sees that the man's body is gone. Not only is the body gone, but Ba-reum notices there isn't a single drop of blood where the man fell. How is this possible? Ba-reum remembers a fact that you should also recall. There is a separate team that hides every crime Ba-reum commits. They made the body of Hongchul disappear. They hid the barrel containing Han-guk's body in Ba-reum's old house's basement. And now they have made the body of the man who fell from the building disappear. If a body can be made to vanish in just a few minutes, imagine how dangerous this group is. Kumuchi calls Ba-reum and arrives at the location. Now Kumuchi is also suspicious of Ba-reum because he left the hospital so quickly without saying anything. Kumuchi asks Ba-reum why he suddenly left the hospital and came here. Ba-reum explains that Chi-guk didn't die naturally. Someone killed him. He says he chased the killer, but someone else interfered. That person fell from the building, and now his body is gone. Kumuchi doesn't believe Ba-reum and thinks he is imagining things. However, Kumuchi realizes something. You might remember the suspicious man with the OZ tattoo on his arm who came to the police station. Kumuchi realizes that man also fled in a car and came to this very hotel. Kumuchi thinks it would be good to investigate this further. Kumuchi and Ba-reum check the hotel's CCTV. The CCTV captured the killer coming to the hotel, but his face wasn't clearly visible. The man went to room 802. They go to investigate the room. The surprising thing is that the room looks like no one has been there for a long time. There was a fight between Ba-reum and the killer, which messed up some things in the room, but now everything is perfectly tidy. Kumuchi is certain that Ba-reum is lying. But there is one more thing. Ba-reum says the killer escaped in a car with a specific license plate number. When Ba-reum mentions the number, Kumuchi remembers that the suspicious man who fled the police station was in a car with the exact same license plate number. Kumuchi doesn't tell Ba-reum this. How does Ba-reum know the correct license plate number? Kumuchi now believes Ba-reum is telling the truth. Ba-reum had hit the man with the food package. Kumuchi realizes the food should be in the room. They don't see the food in the room, but there is a carpet. When they lift the carpet and check underneath, Kumuchi smells the food. Ba-reum mentioned, Kumuchi now understands that someone cleaned everything up and restored the room, but they have no further evidence. Ba-reum insists that someone killed Chi-guk. He suggests that the killer might have given Chi-guk an injection. However, Chi-guk's blood was tested and contained no poison. Ba-reum says, "No, let's conduct an autopsy on Chi-guk's body. Then we can find the real reason." But Chi-guk's mother does not consent. Chi-guk was in the hospital for over a year after the serial killer, Ba-reum, brutally stabbed him. Chi-guk's mother is unwilling to let them cut open his body for an autopsy. Therefore, they are unable to find the real cause of Chi-guk's death. Ba-reum is determined to catch the person who killed Chi-guk. Ba-reum initially wanted to surrender because he remembered everything, but now he has a new purpose. Kumuchi comes and talks to Ba-reum. Kumuchi asks him why he suddenly went to see Chi-guk. Ba-reum lies, saying Chi-guk asked him to come and talk. Chi-guk was a bit scared, and he thought someone might have frightened him. You might recall Chi-guk asked Ba-reum to come so he could tell him to surrender to the police, but Ba-reum can't tell Kumuchi that. Kumuchi believes the lie Chi-guk seemed scared. Maybe there's something hidden here. We must investigate this again. The reason Kumuchi wants to investigate is that you may remember Ba-reum beat Chi-guk in an abandoned washroom, and then Chi-guk was found inside a magician's box. Kumuchi is suspicious about how Chi-guk got from the washroom to the box. Next, we see Chi-guk's funeral Ba-reum, and many others are there. Ba-reum is very distressed. You can guess why. After the frontal lobe of Sanyohan's brain was transplanted into Ba-reum, Sanyohan's good qualities are emerging in Ba-reum. Because of this, Ba-reum is regretting the murders he committed. Bong-yi is also at the funeral. Seeing Bong-yi reminds Ba-reum of another thing. You might remember, Ba-reum was strongly attracted to Bong-yi. There is a big reason for that. Ba-reum didn't actually love Bong-yi. Ba-reum wanted to have a child of his own. He knew Bong-yi had the right qualities to have his child. That's why Ba-reum pretended to love Bong-yi. Ba-reum is ashamed of himself now that he remembers these things. Think about how cruel Ba-reum is. I'll remind you of one more thing. Bong-yi went to the church on the day of the murder. A fight occurred between Bong-yi and Ba-reum. During the fight, the knife in Bong-yi's hand cut Ba-reum's hand. Bong-yi knows that her knife cut the person who tried to kill her. The wound from Bong-yi's knife is still on Ba-reum's hand. Ba-reum remembers that mark. While at the funeral, Ba-reum sees a funeral being held for his uncle, Ba-reum's mother's brother, at the same location. How can this be? I mentioned earlier that Ba-reum has people he considers his uncle, aunt, and cousin, but they are not his family. Who are they? Let's keep that question in mind as we continue the story. Ba-reum is shocked to see his uncle's funeral. Ba-reum tries to call his aunt and uncle, but neither of their phones is working. Ba-reum goes to check the details of the deceased. He realizes this is not his uncle's name, nor is it the place where his uncle claimed to work. Ba-reum wonders if it is his uncle's older brother. However, after checking the last name, Ba-reum realizes it's the same person. It is his uncle. How is this possible? Why didn't his aunt call to tell him? Why aren't their phones working? These questions flood Ba-reum's mind. Ba-reum remembers one more thing. You may recall that after Bong-yi's grandmother was killed, Ba-reum chased Sanyohan. While chasing him, Ba-reum was hit by a car in the street. He remembers a small decoration, or tag, hanging in the front of that car. Ba-reum recalls that the man who killed Chi-guk also fled in a similar car, and that car also had the same decoration. Ba-reum wonders if his accident that day was part of a plan. Ba-reum goes to investigate the car from the old accident. When he checks the license plate number, he finds that there are no records of any accident for that number. Moreover, the details of the man who drove the car were also fake. Ba-reum is confused by this entire mess. Next, we see that Choi, the woman who had Sanyohan's child, has no one to look after the baby. Sanyohan's mother, Kim, comes to look after the baby. Choi feels relieved. Choi hands over the responsibility of looking after the baby to Kim. Choi is planning to host a program. The program is about the families of the victims who believe Sanyohan is dead. Ba-reum killed everyone, but no one else knows that. Choi wants to bring the remaining family members of the victims, who believe Sanyohan killed their loved ones, onto a program. Many people are against this because Choi has Sanyohan's child. They fear Choi might use the platform to try to prove Sanyohan is innocent. However, you may remember that at the beginning of the series, the young girl named Song was killed, and later, the gym coach was killed. They were siblings. The mother of the two victims calls Choi and agrees to come onto the program. In the meantime, Kumuchi goes back to the police station to check the CCTV footage of the suspicious man who came to the station. Checking the CCTV, Komuchi realizes something. You may remember Kang Deok-soo's mother gave a letter to the police saying Komuchi did not assault Kang Deok-soo. Detective San first received the letter, who then gave it to Detective Lee. Komuchi realizes from the CCTV that Detective Lee is giving that letter to the suspicious man, the one who came to the station. Why would Detective Lee give this letter to a suspicious stranger? That question arises in Komuchi's mind. Detective San and another police officer arrive. The three of them discuss and try to figure out what happened. Kang Deok-soo was killed by someone from the police, and now Detective Lee is involved. Detective San suggests that Detective Lee might have killed Kang Deok-soo. Komuchi's suspicion is growing regarding Chi-guk's death. San-yohan tried to kill Chi-guk, but San-yohan is no longer alive. Who tried to kill Chi-guk a year later? Why? Komuchi is starting to suspect that maybe San-yohan was not the one who tried to kill Chi-guk back then. Next, we see Ba-reum go back to the spot where the man fell from the building. Although someone cleaned up the body and everything, Ba-reum manages to find a small bloodstain on the building. Ba-reum takes the blood sample to the police for testing. Ba-reum finds out that the blood belongs to his uncle. Ba-reum goes to his uncle's funeral. He checks his uncle's body. Can you imagine what Ba-reum sees? On his uncle's chest, slightly to the side, there is a hole. You may remember the man fell onto the iron rods, and one of the rods went through the man's chest. Ba-reum is seeing that mark. This means the person who interfered with Ba-reum trying to catch Chi-guk's killer was his uncle. It is clear now that this person is not his real uncle. Ba-reum starts searching for information about his family. He finds out that he doesn't have an aunt and uncle in his family. So, who are these people? You may remember that Ba-reum had brain surgery, and after he regained consciousness, his aunt and uncle came into the story. They moved Ba-reum from his old house to a new one. Did Ba-reum's aunt and uncle only appear after his brain surgery? No, Ba-reum remembers one more thing. Ba-reum killed his own mother and father. After that incident, Ba-reum and his younger siblings, a brother and a sister who has a psychological disability and cannot speak, were the only ones left in the family. We won't find out what happened to his brother and sister until later episodes. Ba-reum's aunt and uncle only appeared after the death of Ba-reum's mother and father. You can now understand that the people who pretend to be Ba-reum's aunt and uncle have been following Ba-reum since a long time ago. Ba-reum's mother and father died many years ago, and these people have been following Ba-reum since then. Why are they doing this? What do they want? Who are these people pretending to be Ba-reum's aunt and uncle? That's the question in Ba-reum's mind. Next, we see that the gym coach's mother, who agreed to join Choi's program, is now at the TV station. Bong-yi goes to meet her. Bong-yi asks the mother, "Mom, what are you doing? Have you come to this program to clear the name of the man who killed your son and daughter?" The mother replies, "Bong-yi, over time, I realized that Dr. San-yohan is an innocent person. I have something to say about that. That's why I joined this program." Bong-yi then says, "When the murderer tried to kill my grandfather, I went to the church to save him, San-yohan, and I had a big fight. I fought with him face to face, but Bong-yi fought with Ba-reum, not San-yohan. Bong-yi still doesn't know this." The mother asks, "Bong-yi, did you actually see San-yohan's face then?" Bong-yi thinks, and realizes Ba-reum was wearing a mask. That's why Bong-yi couldn't figure out it was Ba-reum. Bong-yi started thinking she fought with San-yohan. After being fooled into believing San-yohan was the murderer, Bong-yi replies, "No, I didn't see his face then. But I was with Uncle Komuchi watching when he shot San-yohan. I clearly saw his face then." The mother says, "That's exactly what I can't figure out. I've kept quiet all this time because of it. But I saw something that proves San-yohan is a very innocent person. That's what I came to say on this program." In the meantime, Komuchi is investigating the letter Kang Deok-soo's mother gave. While looking for the letter, Komuchi drops a box containing other evidence. Out of the box falls a photo of the gym coach, the first person Ba-reum killed. Seeing the photo, Komuchi wants to see more old photos of the gym coach. The gym coach's mother is at the TV station to join the program. Komuchi goes there and brings the mother away, preventing her from joining the program. The mother asks Komuchi, "Why did you bring me here like this?" Komuchi says, "I need to see some old photos of your son." The mother takes Komuchi home and shows him her son's old photos. Komuchi notices something while looking at the photos. Let's keep the question of what Komuchi found in our minds as we listen to the end of the episode. Ba-reum has gone to his elementary school. You may recall that when Ba-reum was young, he put a mouse into a glass box with a snake. Later, he cut open the stomach of the school rabbit to see if it was pregnant. You might also remember that Ba-reum's hand was constantly itching in those days. That was because he couldn't take out his anger on others. Ba-reum remembers all this now that he is at his elementary school. Ba-reum then goes to his old house, the house where he lived with his mother and father. When he gets there, Ba-reum remembers how his mother and father lay dead inside the house. Ba-reum remembers one more thing. When Ba-reum was young, his mother knew he was a psychopath. Because of this, his mother tried to kill Ba-reum once. Ba-reum lost consciousness. Although he lost consciousness, Ba-reum remembers something he saw then. When his mother tried to kill him, someone else came and stopped her. Ba-reum focuses on that person's face. Can you imagine who the person was who came to stop Ba-reum's mother from killing him? It was none other than the gym coach, Mu-jin, the first person Ba-reum killed. The 16th episode of this amazing series ends right after Ba-reum remembers this. If you thought the story would end once the serial killer, Ba-reum, was caught, you were wrong. After watching this episode, you will understand that there is a much larger story contained within it. There are only 4 more episodes left in this series. After watching those 4 episodes, you will clearly understand what truly happens in this story and what will become of a cruel person, a psychopath like Ba-reum. If you haven't subscribed to our Real Insight channel yet, I know you are watching this video. If someone has forgotten to subscribe, I'll remind you again. Please click the red button below to subscribe now, and don't forget to click the bell icon next to it. Then, let's meet soon in the 17th episode. Goodbye.